What's going on, bottom line viewers? It's Mitch here with your Week 15 NFL early look at the Week 15 slate with my raw initial reactions to every NFL game and my first impression on the spread and the total. So before I get started with Week 15, make sure that you do spike that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more BLV each and every week. Here on the channel is an early look on a Monday. Spike that notification bell for the latest upload, as well as to be notified when I'm live. Week 15 looks like an awesome slate of games, so there's going to be a lot of action. I highly suggest you check out the link in the description for my Patreon, as well as the top comment. We'll have my Patreon so that you could check out my weekly bets, which is only exclusively to patrons of the channel. You can also support me, what I do here, all of my videos, and me as a creator by becoming a BLV patron. Week 15, as I just said, awesome week. Starting off with Thursday Night Football, which is absolutely a phenomenal game and a phenomenal matchup. Let's take a look at that early Thursday Night Football game between the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, I have heard that Rashawn Slater is on the COVID list, the rookie left tackle of the Chargers, which would be a significant loss for this game. Most likely, he will not play because he was put on the COVID list for a Thursday game on a Monday. So that usually doesn't mean a player will be able to play. You're just probably not going to be able to get ready to have the two negatives and all that stuff to get into the lineup. That would be a huge loss for the Chargers. The Chargers won the first game in a little bit of shocking fashion. That was a game where I felt the spread was inflated because the Chiefs defense hadn't been playing very well. Brandon Staley's first game versus the Chiefs, having the ability to play the two high shells that give Mahomes problems. There are definitely matchups in this game which favor the Chargers. I think their defense is well equipped to slow down the Chiefs. They've got a solid secondary. They've got a very creative two-high defense where they switch kind of between cover 2, cover 6, cover 4 quarters, and that has seemingly given the Chiefs some fits. And I believe there are some different game plans, like the Broncos in particular, that Staley can steal from to be able to execute with his Chargers defense. On the other hand, the Chiefs defense has been playing a lot better and probably is going to give Justin Herbert some issues in this game. And Spagnuolo could possibly steal from guys like Belichick or Don Martindale that gave the Chargers some issues in that game, because Spagnuolo has been known to be a little creative, to get after it with his blitzes and to cause problems that way for quarterbacks. Now, he's been a little bit less aggressive on the blitzing front this year and more so has relied on Chris Jones and company to get to the quarterback with a four-man rush. But we will see what happens. The Chiefs defense has been turning the football over. They've been playing really, really well. And they've been honestly the better unit in recent weeks over Mahomes and the offense, which makes the game very different from games past where the Chargers almost had to outscore the Chiefs. I feel like this game, well, it might have a similar vibe in a way. It might not be in the 30s. It more feels like a 20s game to me. And that is indicative when you look at the spread. The spread is 50, which means that it's high, but they don't truly expect a gangbusters, just absolute shootout type of game. Now, Kansas City, favored by 3.5, is interesting. This game is in LA. Remember, the Chargers were able to beat the Chiefs in Arrowhead the first time. So that's interesting. You know, you take the Arrowhead home field away from the Chiefs, which is a tough place to play, but you don't necessarily have a huge home field in LA with the Chargers. So it's not like it really hurts the Chiefs. It's more so you take that advantage away from the defense of the Chiefs that's been playing so well, in the crowd noise, in the intensity, in the cold weather, which I think the Chargers playing the Chiefs at this point in the year is very beneficial for them at home because it's going to be warmer. You know, the Chiefs are usually used to colder weather, so that is a factor to me. Personally, I like the Chiefs better as a team. I think they're the better team. The matchup, though, is one of these few matchups that I think the Chargers and their deficiencies in the run game actually don't really hurt them, because the Chiefs' offense isn't a fantastic power running team. When they run the ball, it's mostly from shotgun. They mostly run shotgun runs, or they're not really looking to put a fullback on the field, multiple tight ends on the field, and just power football down your throat the way that certain teams have been able to do to the Chargers this year and beat them that way. I just think of my Patriots, the way that they played them. I feel like the Chargers are a team that actually matches up very well with the Chiefs and what the Chiefs do well and what the Chiefs want to do on offense and on defense. But the way the Chiefs defense is playing definitely has me considering whether, that will give Herbert and company some issues. I think it honestly comes down to whether the Chargers' weaponry can win. Can Mike Williams win on the outside? Can Keenan Allen win consistently? Can Austin Eckler run the ball in this game? I think I want to take the Chiefs, but I don't know if they're going to cover 3.5. This feels like a field goal type game. I think the right side is the Chargers with the points, but I honestly feel it's going to come down to one possession, which does scare me. The total, on the other hand, of 50, I could see that going under. I could see it being, around 44 to 47 points in this game instead of a high total into the 50s. I think the Chiefs offense right now, yes, is playing better, but I think they're inflated by the performances they've had versus the Raiders, which is a drastically different defensive structure than the Chargers. And I do believe in what I'm seeing from the Chiefs defense to slow down Herbert and his ridiculous arm. So I do think the best play that I see here is the under. And personally, I'm leaning towards taking the points with the Chargers, although I'm kind of not exactly on the train to be betting against the Chiefs at this moment, the way that they're playing. So that's where I stand on that Thursday game. This game should be very interesting and fun to watch. The second game, and this is a Saturday, by the way. We have football on Thursday. We have football on Saturday. We've got 2 games on Saturday. This is the first of the 2. The Raiders and the Browns. This is a total of 42.5. Browns are favored by 6.5 in this game. And I think the only side here is the Raiders. I understand the Raiders have been shellacked by the Chiefs. They were shellacked by the Chiefs last week. But the Chiefs this year have dominated the Raiders 2 games. And the rest of the games, when you look at the schedule, the Raiders have rather won in a close game or lost in a close game. Otherwise, the Raiders have been fairly consistent in competing in these games. And I look at the Browns and I say, they're an offense that I just can't trust to cover 6.5 versus most teams in the NFL. I believe these teams played last year. The Raiders won a very ugly, weather type of game. It was like field goal fest or something of that nature. I don't even recall what the score was, but it was really low scoring, and that was mostly due to the weather. This is a low total once again, 42.5. I think the Browns offense, they haven't been running the ball the same way, and I think Derek Carr might have a little bit of success passing the ball, especially if Darren Waller is able to get back for this game. The problem with the Raiders is their run offense is very bad, and their tackles are very bad, which concerns me against the Browns in this game, especially on the road. So, man, I think this total is right, but I do think there is value to be had with the 6.5 points for the Raiders, because I think you're getting the better quarterback here, and I think you're getting the better passing game here, and I don't think the Browns are going to be able to blow the Raiders out just because their offense is just not very good right now. So I would probably take the points with the Raiders at the moment. There is value there. Next, the primetime game on Saturday, which is arguably the game of the week. It's a rivalry from the past. The Patriots in Indianapolis, New England, is an underdog in this game, which initially surprised me because they've been the much better team in terms of their record. They're the number 1 team in the AFC right now and seemingly not getting that respect. Both teams coming off the bye. This game is in Indianapolis, which matters a little bit because I think just New England is a great home field advantage, so it more so matters that New England isn't at home for this game, but New England has yet to lose a game on the road, so they've been kind of road warriors. I think both of these teams are really, really even matchups. Like, I look at the Colts offense and I say, if they maybe had more weapons on the outside, they'd be able to possibly be one of the few offenses that could move the ball on New England. But I just don't think they have enough receivers. Like, you look at New England's DBs, and I think what's going to happen here is Belichick is going to be all over, like, stacking the box versus Jonathan Taylor, trying to force Carson Wentz to beat him, and trying to force the Colts to get in those third down situations where Carson Wentz is putting the ball in harm's way. Because New England is very good at turning the ball over. They're very good at forcing mistakes. And if Carson is put in those situations, you know he's going to turn the ball over in a close game. If Jonathan Taylor is slowed down and is contained, not saying he's got to be shut down. I don't think he will be shut down in this game. But if he's slowed down and contained, and there are plays where Carson Wentz is going to have to make throws, I just don't see enough advantages in the passing game for the Colts to consistently make those plays. Like, J.C. Jackson's probably going to take Michael Pittman out of this game, and that is the true number one receiver for this offense. Everybody else is kind of marginal, average at best. I just think Belichick versus Carson Wentz is a bit of a mismatch. If Jonathan Taylor isn't going off for 6 yards a carry, New England most likely is able to contain the offense. And then on the flip side, this is where my theory of New England's passing game can be proven correct, because I think the biggest thing that people are sleeping on with the Patriots is the fact that their offense is actually good. Everyone talks about them as a defensive and special teams and coaching type team, but their offense ranks in the top 5 in scoring. And I don't think anyone really talks about that. I think part of it is because they're very versatile in the way that they can attack you. The Colts have already come out and suggested that they're going to try to slow down the running game and force Mac Jones to beat them. I think the problem with that game plan is Mac Jones has proven that if you try to do that, he can beat you. Just look at the Browns game plan or the Titans game plan. Both of those teams forced Mac to beat them, and he did. And I look at a Colts defense that plays a lot of zone coverage. I think that's comfortable for a New England offense that has a very intellectual offensive coordinator and quarterback, very accurate Mac Jones, who can probably take his 5 yards at a time and move the ball dink and dunk down the field. And I feel like that is the way that New England's going to move this ball. And I think they're going to move it consistently because their offensive line, I think, will protect Mac and be able to do that way. So maybe New England isn't able to run the ball the way that they'd like they usually do. But I think Mac's presence as an accurate underneath passer is going to be the reason they win this game. So I think New England is the side here. And when I look at the total, I'd probably lean towards the under because I think the Colts are going to struggle offensively. On top of, I think New England and the style they play offense is going to have to be very slow and very methodical, which means that this typically would go to an under. So under 45.5 and take New England plus the 2.5. I just take the money line. Or you could put New England in a teaser and tease them up to 8.5, which is probably the ideal play for Saturday. All right, next, you've got the Arizona Cardinals at the Detroit Lions. This is a total of 47.5. The spread is 14. I don't know what's happened on Monday night yet. I'm recording this before Monday night with the Cardinals and the Rams, although I'm anticipating the Cardinals to win due to all of the COVID situations with the Rams. Now, the Detroit Lions are awful, but they have shown some fight and ability to cover. The total 47.5, I would lean towards the over. The Lions defense is dreadful. And the Lions offense, they've shown a capacity to kind of have an underrated ability to move the ball in some games. So maybe I'd lean towards the over in like a Cardinals get up big and the Lions put up some points in the second half sort of thing. 14 is just a lot of points, so I'd probably lay off of that personally for this one, especially because it could be a trap game for the Cardinals. Not saying they'll lose, but it could be one where they come out maybe a little sluggish. Next, you've got the Carolina Panthers and the Buffalo Bills. This is one that I don't have a lot of information on, mostly due to the fact that Josh Allen could or could not play in this game. If he does play, I fully expect Buffalo to win, especially at home. But this is a game where I feel like Carolina, could hang around in this game. I understand they haven't been playing very well. The problem with Carolina is their offensive line. And this is probably the reason the Bills win, is because I think if they get pressure on whoever the quarterback is most likely going to be Cam Newton, it's going to be trouble for the Panthers to move the ball. But I do feel like with the Bills just being so one-dimensional on offense, that kind of allows the Panthers to unlock their best ability as a defense, play the pass, and Gilmore can probably stick on Stephon Diggs. You've got a really good edge rush that can contain and get after Josh Allen and make life difficult. So I'd probably lean towards taking the Panthers plus the points, but it is very ugly right now the way Carolina is playing offensively. So it would scare you a little bit. I just don't think the Bills, with the way that their offensive line is playing, you can fully anticipate that they can cover this big of a spread versus not one of the worst teams in the league. The Dallas Cowboys at the New York Giants. Dallas is favored by 10.5 in this game. Don't know who the quarterback is going to be for the Giants. If it's Mike Glennon, I would anticipate the Cowboys to win and to cover, although I will say this about the Cowboys. Their offense has been underwhelming as of late. Dak Prescott has been underwhelming as of late. Tyron Smith is most likely not going to play, which gives me big-time concern for that one. But the Giants are just really bad right now, so I don't know if I can look to the Giants as a play here. The total is 45. I might look towards the under. That might be the play, just given that the Cowboys defense is playing really, really well. Mike Glennon is the quarterback for the Giants, and Dallas's defense is playing good, like I said, and the Giants defense has the capacity to play well, although Justin Herbert ripped them apart last week. Next, we've got the Texans and the Jags. I actually like the Texans here. I didn't anticipate coming into this game talking about it as a potential bet, but I like the Texans. I mean, the Jags are giving 3 points. If they were giving 3 points to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, who just won the Grey Cup, I would take the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. The Jacksonville Jags are the worst football team that exists in the NFL. They're terrible. Their offense can't score, so take any sort of points. 41 is the total. I'd also maybe lean under as well. I mean, that is a significantly low total. But Jacksonville can't score 10 points on any team, and the Texans are really bad, especially with Davis Mills. So I think the Texans are the side here, and that's the way I'd play it. Next, you got the Jets and the Dolphins, which is another dreadful game. I can't anticipate laying 8.5 with a Miami Dolphins team that's not super explosive on offense. The total is 43, which also indicates this is probably not the side to be on with Miami. You know, it might be an ugly gross bet if you're going to take the Jets. But I think that's the only side that you can go with, even though the Jets suck. The Jets, I don't want to bet on, though. So I think the only way to play this is possibly taking Miami in a teaser and teasing them below the 3. Teasing them 6 points below the 3 to take them -2.5. And that'd probably be the way that I would look to play it. Miami looks pretty good, though, and they didn't play this week. They're coming off a bye, I believe. I don't recall them playing, at least. So their defense will be ready to go. Give Zach Wilson a lot of issues. Could cause a couple turnovers. Offensively, Tua doesn't really turn the ball over and makes accurate intermediate passes, and should be good enough to slay a really bad secondary. So I think Miami wins, and this is an AFC East game. This is a rivalry game, so I'm not super comfortable with them covering, but I do like them in a teaser. Next, the Tennessee Titans at the Pittsburgh Steelers. Tennessee favored by just 2, which is a little bit surprising. The total is 41.5, but I think I like the Steelers in a teaser. If you could get them at +8, that is perfect to me. The +2, I could see this game going either way. So if you want to go with the Steelers money line, I think that's the way to play it as the underdog. I think the Steelers match up well with the Titans. This game's in Pittsburgh, Heinz Field. I've been there. It's pretty intense. you know, the towels waving in the air, the loud fans, the obnoxious fans. That's definitely a tough place to play. The total is also very low, which indicates a low-scoring game, so it makes it even more teaser-worthy to me. But I like the way Pittsburgh matches up. They've got some threats on the outside that can beat the Titans' cornerbacks. They've also got a strong front seven to be able to contain the run as well as get after Ryan Tannehill. And the Titans don't really have any great receivers like Justin Jefferson to make the back end pay of the Steelers. So if Ben can play just okay, I think the Steelers can hang around in this game and possibly pull off the upset. The 10th game is the Eagles at home over Washington. This is a really interesting game. Eagles -5. This is a total of 43.5. I think the value suggests to take Washington. I just don't know what the quarterback situation is right now. But 5 points is probably too many in an NFC East game where these two teams are separated by like 1 win, I think. So overall, Washington very beat up versus Dallas. Didn't have their best game. The Eagles coming off a bye. There is reason to like the Eagles, but I can't lay that many points with a Philadelphia team that just isn't that good, right? I think the Cowboys were only 4.5 point favorites, so it doesn't really make sense that the Cowboys were 4.5 point favorites and now the Eagles are 5 point favorites, unless the indication is that Kyle Allen is playing for sure. And in that case, I don't have enough information to even make a move on this game because I don't really know much about Kyle Allen. Other than that, he's played a few games, he hasn't been great, he's very conservative. Other than that, I don't know much, so I probably just lay off this game entirely at the moment. Next, the Atlanta Falcons at the San Francisco 49ers. 49ers -8.5. Total is 46. Now, when I first saw the total, I liked the over because I feel like Atlanta can, with Matt Ryan at quarterback, can maybe make some plays versus the secondary, on top of the fact that I feel like the 49ers offense is really underrated and they're going to score points. Like, the 49ers probably going to score 30 points in this game. 8.5 feels a little high, to be honest with you, just because I think Atlanta has shown that they can hang around. My problem in this game in San Francisco is the Niners pass rush versus the offensive line of Atlanta, which scares me to take the Falcons. Because if Matt is under pressure consistently, he can maybe turn the ball over a couple times, a few big sacks, a few big strip fumbles or interceptions. That could change the game and allow the 49ers to cover. So I don't really have a good feel for either side. I think the one way that I'm leaning, if I'm going to play this early, is taking the Niners. Again, another teaser play here. You could tease them 6 points under the 3, and I think that's the best way to go. Next, the Bengals and the Broncos. Denver is favored by 1.5. I like the Bengals at first here. I think the Bengals are the better, more talented team with the better quarterback. I think the defenses, Broncos got the better secondary. Now, here's the thing. This is actually kind of a huge matchup in this game. So the Bengals, I'm not sure the reports on the injuries up front for them on the offensive line. But if the Bengals have somewhat of a healthy offensive line, I would play the Bengals here because I think they can run the ball on the Broncos. And I think that could help them win this game on the road. The other thing I'll say is the Bengals' defense is pretty good versus the run. Their weakness has more so lately been versus the pass. So I feel like the Broncos need to kind of be able to run the ball to be able to move the ball. So I just like taking Joe Burrow as an underdog here. We've seen the Bengals are not so good as favorites, but as underdogs, they've been very feisty and they've been live. So I think I like the Bengals even on the road in Denver. As tricky as that sounds, I feel like that is the play. Next, the Green Bay Packers at the Baltimore Ravens. Baltimore, underdogs, 5 points, my bad. Total is 43.5. I personally think I like the over, but I can't play it until I know who the quarterback is for the Ravens, and that is the question. Is it going to be Lamar? I've heard that it probably will be, but I don't exactly know. Green Bay does feel like 5 points better than the Ravens the way they're currently playing, but the Ravens have shown a capacity to be able to come back, to be able to be in games that make no sense. So the Ravens are just a very hard team to bet on or against right now. They're just a very tricky team because they have so much heart. They're well coached. Before the year, I thought this was a really good matchup for the Ravens to be able to win it at home over Aaron Rodgers. That could still be the case. Just the fact that they have so many injuries might derail that. On the surface, if the Ravens can run the ball, they might be able to control the game. But I do have my worries about the Ravens defense versus Aaron Rodgers. And I don't know if that, I don't know, man. But this just feels like a Ravens game where maybe as the underdog, they make it close. It's especially in Baltimore. I think that's a trickier place to play than people think. So, yeah, I mean, that's tough. I think the over would be the way to play because it sounds like it's going to be an entertaining one. Next, the Seahawks and the Rams. Total of 47. Spread is -7 for the Rams. I think I lean towards the under, possibly. I think the Rams defense is a tad overrated, but I don't know if I've seen enough from the Seahawks offense to reliably say that they can get to like a 50-point total in this game. Although I will say the Rams could shred the Seahawks. So maybe I'm not exactly sure about the under there. Maybe not. So maybe lay off that one. But the Rams do feel like they should win this game. I just don't know if 7 is too many points. Like, this just feels like that's too many points to give Russell Wilson. But I will see how the Rams play on Monday night, and that might adjust the way I feel. So this is probably like a no early play solution at the moment, but I might get back to this one later on in the week and then determine whether this is a smart play to bet. So this is a hold off right now for me. Russell Wilson, man, in a division game with 7 points feels too good to be true to me. I don't know. Next game is the Saints and the Bucks. Bucks are favored by 11.5 on Sunday Night Football. This is a total of 46.5. Personally, I lean towards the under, and that is because I think that the Saints will struggle to score in this game, especially if the Bucks have a fully capable secondary. Jamel Dean left the Bills game with a sickness, which I think not a lot of people are talking about, but that was really big in that game. It allowed the Bills to kind of come back. Carlton Davis looked good in that game. He's back, and Sean Murphy-Bunting's back. So their corners are back. I'm not sure the status on their safeties. But the Bucks should be able to stop the run of Kamara, stop the run of Taysom Hill, and, force Taysom Hill to pass, which is going to be just not a spot where the Saints want to be. On the other hand, the Bucks have struggled versus the Saints offensively. Brady threw like 4 touchdowns and 380 yards last time they played. Some of that was in comeback mode, so there's a little bit of inflation there. But I feel like he's going to have a solid game. I'm just not sure if the Saints can hold their end of the bargain here. If the Bucks score 30, are the Saints going to be able to score 17 for this to go over? I just don't think so. So I think probably under is the play, and then on top of that, Tampa Bay minus 11.5 is the only side I would play, but I don't know if I can do it based on the history between these two teams. So I'd probably lay off the spread. And the Monday Night Football game is the Bears at home versus the Vikings. Minnesota favored by 3.5, and the total's 44. Personally, I like the over, and I like the Bears. This might actually be a bet for me. I like the Bears plus the 3.5. I like the way they played. They fought versus the Packers. They played really good on special teams. I thought their defense made a few plays pass rushing wise, and their offense, Justin Fields can make some plays, especially versus, I think, a little bit of an overrated defense in the Vikings. If this becomes a wide open shootout type of game, which I think it could, I think that creates a lot of wild football, and the Vikings have been known for wild football as of late, and they're very good at giving up leads. The Vikings have also been very, very bad versus the Bears in recent history in Chicago. So I think I like the Bears plus the 3 in the hook, and I think I like the over as well, because I think the Vikings defense and the Bears defense both a little bit overrated at the moment. So that is your early look for week 15 of the 2021 NFL season. Hope you enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to spike that like button and subscribe to the channel for more BLV. Also, check out my Patreon for my bets every single week. We will see you later in the week when I break down my best bets for the spread, for the totals, and for those parlays. It's Mitch. Peace.